Thank you so much, Mr. Chair. It's delightful to get the chance to talk about healthcare access in this first subcommittee hearing, and I, want to start out being a new member, and I don't know if this makes me a radical feminist or not. I am a married woman, but I don't have a man in my family. But I do believe that we need to make sure that access to the services that folks need is not that we don't create additional barriers. And I believe that because of really personal experience. When I was 7 years old, my sister Olivia was born with microcephaly, which is a complex disability. The doctors didn't know how long she would live or if she would live. My dad had a good government civilian job, had good federal employee insurance, but it would not have covered all of the equipment and specialists that Olivia needed to survive in our family. But because the Washington State legislature in 1993 was one of the first states in the country to expand Medicaid, Olivia was able to survive and thrive in our family. And because of special education funding, she was able to go to school, be integrated in her classroom. And that is when I learned that government can play a role in making people's lives better, in ensuring that families have the tools to build strong futures, ensuring that children like my sister and my brother and I can be civically involved community members and can build better for our kids and our kids' kids. I'm also the first in my family to go to college. I benefited from financial aid when my parents got divorced. My mom, after being a primary caregiver for my sister, struggled to re-enter the workforce, and SNAP benefits made a difference for us. I, went on to break a lot of barriers in my family and was elected to the state senate, where I had the chance to chair the Higher Education and Workforce Development Committee for 5 years, where I heard story after story after story that was like mine and my family's. Working parents who were trying to go to school so that they could build a better future for their kids, who were penalized and who weren't able to dedicate the time to their schoolwork because they were trying to hit the work requirements. Students who were penalized because they got a little bit of a raise, a tiny, tiny, tiny bit of a raise, which meant that they lost their childcare benefits or their housing benefits or their food assistant benefits. Those cliffs are what keep so many families in poverty. And I also believe that we should tackle the marriage penalty. I've talked to a number of particularly disabled parents, who want to get married, who want to build a strong family unit, but who don't have the opportunity because they know that they will be made homeless by getting married and losing the benefits that are allowing their children to have health care and thrive. Mr. Linden, I don't know if you tracked any of Washington State's response to the Great Recession. I assume that it's like many states. We were forced to make some cuts to our safety net programs. Can you speak at all about any other states that made cuts to programs, safety net programs under the Great Recession, and what impact that had on families?
Yeah, absolutely. I think stepping back broadly, we know that when states and localities are forced to pull back on aid to struggling families because of economic resources, because the federal government has cut back, that the effects are very long-term. Certainly people get hurt right away, but there's something in the economic literature that we call scarring. It's sort of a, kind of a gross term, but it does capture the real long-term effects of people getting thrown out of these programs before they are able to pick themselves up. You see it in years and years afterwards. They have lower educational attainment, lower earnings, less attachment to the workforce, all the things that we want to see. You get the opposite of that. So I'm sure that happened in Washington State. It happened all over the country. It happened in other countries.
We definitely saw that impact in Washington State. And in fact, what we saw was a greater strain on the budget long term, because since we kicked folks off of programs that were allowing them to build themselves up, then we had to pay for housing and other safety net programs longer term, not only for the parents, but for the children as they grew up. Washington State, like many states in the country, also has extensive workforce shortage. And one of the ways that we meet that is by ensuring that folks get credential attainment after high school. We have a goal of 75% credential attainment. None of that is possible if we are ensuring that families are not able to access education, to keep a roof over their head, to send their kids to childcare, and to thrive. So I hope that as we think about what is good for families and what is good for our economy, we remember that these programs provide support. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back.